Zaraketh stood alone at the observation window watching the stars drift past. Her blue-scaled hands pressed against the cold metal frame as the patrol ship Stellar Dawn moved through the darkness of space. 3 months had passed since Kale Moore died, but the pain still felt fresh every morning when she woke up. The ritual scars on her arms marked her as a widow in Valkyran culture. The thin lines carved into her scales would fade with time, but not the memories. Kale Moore had been her partner for 5 years, both in work and in life. They had patrolled the dangerous border regions together, keeping the peace between coalition, space, and the wild fringe territories where pirates and smugglers hid. Security Officer Zaraketh report to the bridge. Captain Voss's voice came through the ship's communication system. The Centaurian captain always spoke in the same calm tone, but Zara could hear something different today. She pushed away from the window and walked through the corridors of the ship. The bridge was busy with the usual activity of a patrol vessel. Officers from different species worked at their stations, monitoring space traffic and watching for signs of trouble. Captain Voss stood near the main display screen, his tall form easily visible above the other crew members. "You wanted to see me, Captain?" Zara asked, keeping her voice professional. "Yes. Your new partner has arrived." Captain Voss gestured toward the lift doors. "He's a transfer from the Earth Defense Force." Zara felt her stomach tighten. Another human. She had hoped the captain would assign her a Valkyran partner or maybe even a Centaurian. Anyone but a human. The lift doors opened and a young human male stepped onto the bridge. He was average height for his species, with dark hair and brown skin. His uniform was crisp and new, and he moved with the confident walk that seemed common to all humans. He looked around the bridge with obvious excitement. "Captain Voss, I'm Danny Rodriguez reporting for duty," the human said, giving a sharp salute. "Welcome aboard the Stellar Dawn, Rodriguez. This is Security Officer Zaraketh. She'll be your partner." Captain Voss nodded toward Zara. Danny turned to face her and extended his hand in the human greeting gesture. "It's an honor to work with you, ma'am. I've heard great things about Valkyran warriors." Zara looked at his outstretched hand but did not take it. She kept her arms at her sides and stared at him with cold eyes. After a few awkward seconds, Danny lowered his hand. "I see," Danny said quietly. Captain Voss cleared his throat. "Rodriguez, report to Commander Park for your ship orientation. Zara, I want to speak with you privately." The other bridge officers tried not to stare as Danny left with Commander Park. When they were alone, Captain Voss turned to Zara. "I know what you're thinking," he said. "Then you know I want a different partner," Zara replied. "That's not possible. We're short-staffed and Rodriguez has combat experience we need. You'll work with him." "Captain, with respect, humans are reckless. They get their partners killed." Captain Voss's expression hardened. "Kale Moore died a hero's death saving human. Civilians. Would you dishonor his sacrifice by refusing to work with the species he died protecting?" Zara's jaw tightened, but she said nothing. The captain was right about one thing. Kale Moore had died protecting humans, but that didn't mean she had to like working with them. "Give Rodriguez a chance," Captain Voss said more gently. He specifically requested assignment to a mixed-species crew. 2 hours later, Zara found herself in the security office with Danny. The small room contained 2 desks, weapon lockers, and display screens showing the ship's security status. Danny sat at what had been Kale Moore's desk, reading through patrol reports. "These border regions see a lot of action," Danny said, trying to start a conversation. "Back on Earth defense, we mostly dealt with smugglers in the asteroid belt." Zara continued working at her own desk without responding. "I've been studying Valkyran culture," Danny continued. "The honor codes are fascinating. The way your people balance individual achievement with group responsibility is really impressive." Still no response from Zara. Danny tried a different approach. "I noticed the scars on your arms. Are those ceremonial markings?" This time Zara looked up, her eyes flashing with anger. "Those are mourning scars. My partner died 3 months ago." "I'm sorry for your loss," Danny said sincerely. "Was he killed in action?" "He was." Zara's voice was ice cold. "Protecting humans, who made poor tactical decisions." Danny opened his mouth to respond, but the ship's alarm began sounding. Red lights flashed throughout the security office. All security teams to stations, came the announcement. Distress signal received from cargo hauler Lucky Strike. Zara and Danny grabbed their equipment and headed for the shuttle bay. The distress signal was coming from a civilian cargo ship about 20 minutes away. As they climbed into their patrol shuttle, Zara took the pilot's seat without asking if Danny preferred to fly. "What's the tactical situation?" Danny asked as they launched from Stellar Dawn. Lucky Strike reported engine problems and requested assistance. No sign of hostile activity in the area. Zara's hands moved efficiently over the shuttle's controls. "Could be a trap," Danny suggested. "Pirates sometimes use fake distress calls to lure patrol ships. That's why we follow proper procedures," Zara replied sharply. "Full sensor sweep before approach, weapons ready but not aggressive, maintain escape vector." Danny nodded. "Sounds good. What's our backup plan if it goes wrong?" "It won't go wrong if we follow protocols. But if it does?" Zara glared at him. "Humans always expect things to go wrong because they make reckless decisions. Valkyrians plan properly and execute carefully. Sometimes, battles don't go according to plan no matter how well you prepare," Danny said quietly. "Kelmore died because humans didn't plan well enough," Zara snapped. They finished the flight in silence. The cargo hauler Lucky Strike was drifting in space, its engines dark. Zara performed a complete sensor scan while Danny monitored communications. Everything appeared normal. "Lucky Strike, this is Coalition Patrol. What's your situation?" Zara transmitted. "Thank the stars you're here," came the reply. "Our main drive is completely dead. We're running on emergency power only." Zara maneuvered their shuttle to dock with the cargo ship. Standard procedure required. One officer to board while the other remained with the shuttle. "I'll board first and secure the ship," Danny said. "Then you can—" "No." Zara was already putting on her equipment. "I have seniority. You stay with the shuttle." "Zara, I think we should—" "Security Officer Zara Keth," she corrected coldly. "And that's an order." Danny watched through the shuttle's sensors as Zara entered the cargo ship. Her blue form moved carefully through the corridors, checking each room systematically. The Valkyran approach was thorough and methodical, just like everything else about her. But as Danny monitored the area around their shuttle, he noticed something that made his blood run cold. 3 ships were approaching fast, running without transponders or lights. "Pirates. Zara. Security Officer Zara Keth," he called urgently. "We have company. 3 unidentified vessels approaching." "How long until they arrive?" came her voice through the communicator. 6 minutes, maybe 7. Enough time to complete the rescue and depart. What if the cargo ship can't move under its own power?" There was a pause. "Then we follow evacuation protocols." Danny checked his weapons and prepared for trouble. Something told him that protocols might not be enough this time. The 3 pirate ships closed in fast, their weapons already charging. Danny watched the sensor display with growing worry as Zara continued her methodical search of the cargo hauler. The civilian crew of Lucky Strike was hiding in their cargo hold, terrified and helpless. "Zara, those ships will be in weapons range in 3 minutes, Danny called through the communicator. "I'm almost finished here," came her reply. "The cargo ship's engines are completely destroyed. We'll need to evacuate the crew." Danny made a quick calculation. Loading 5 civilian crew members and getting them back to the shuttle would take at least 4 minutes. The pirates would be shooting at them long before then. "We don't have time for a standard evacuation," Danny said. "I'm coming aboard." "Negative. Stay with the shuttle." But Danny was already moving. He grabbed his rifle and extra ammunition, then sealed his helmet. The shuttle's systems would keep it ready for a quick departure. He crossed the short distance between the 2 ships in seconds. Inside the cargo hauler, Danny found Zara in the main corridor with the 5 crew members. They were all human civilians, scared and confused. The ship's captain, an older woman with gray hair, was trying to gather important data files. "We need to move now," Danny said urgently. "I'm following proper evacuation procedures," Zara replied, coldly. "Each crew member needs to be checked for injuries and—" The pirates are 90 seconds out, Danny interrupted. We leave now or we don't leave at all. Zara's scales darkened with anger. I don't take orders from you. The first pirate ship opened fire. Energy blasts struck the cargo hauler's hull, making the entire vessel shake. Emergency lights began flashing, and the artificial gravity flickered. Everyone to the shuttle. Danny shouted, "Move! Move! Move!" The civilian crew didn't need to be told twice. They ran toward the docking tube connecting to the patrol shuttle. Zara followed, clearly unhappy about abandoning her careful procedures. More weapons fire hit the cargo ship. One blast tore through the hull near the engine section, venting atmosphere into space. The Lucky Strike was breaking apart. The docking tube won't hold much longer, Danny observed as they reached the shuttle. The flexible connector between the two ships was already showing stress fractures. Then we undock immediately, Zara said, pushing past him to reach the pilot's controls. But as she started the undocking sequence, Danny saw something that made his heart stop. One of the pirate ships was moving to block their escape route. Its weapons were aimed directly at their shuttle. They're going to cut us off, he said. Our shields can handle their weapons long enough to escape, Zara replied, but Danny could hear doubt in her voice. The shuttle separated from the dying cargo hauler just as the pirate ship fired. Energy blasts struck their shields, making the small craft shake violently. The civilians screamed and held on to whatever they could find. Zara pushed the engines to maximum power, but the pirate ship stayed with them. It was faster and more heavily armed than their patrol shuttle. 2 more pirate vessels were closing in from other directions. We're not going to outrun them, Danny said, studying the tactical display. Coalition patrol shuttles are faster than pirate ships, Zara insisted, but the evidence on their screen said otherwise. The lead pirate ship fired again. This time the blast got through their weakening shields and hit the shuttle's port engine. Warning alarms began sounding throughout the small cabin. Engine 2 is offline, Danny reported. We're down to half power. Zara's hands flew over the controls trying to compensate for the damaged engine. But it was no use. The pirate ships were surrounding them like hunters closing in on wounded prey. This is Coalition Patrol Shuttle 7, Zara transmitted. We have rescued civilian crew and are under attack by 3 hostile vessels, requesting immediate assistance. Stellar Dawn responding, came Captain Voss's voice. We're 20 minutes out. Try to evade until we arrive. 20 minutes. Danny looked at their situation and knew they didn't have 20 minutes. Maybe not even 2 minutes. Zara, listen to me, he said urgently. There's an asteroid field about 5,000 kilometers to starboard. If we can reach it. Asteroid. Fields are dangerous for damaged ships, Zara replied. We stick to open space where Stellar Dawn can find us. Open space where the pirates can shoot us easily, Danny countered. Another blast shook the shuttle. Their remaining engine began making unhealthy sounds. I'm the senior officer, Zara said firmly. We maintain course. Danny watched the tactical display as the pirates moved into perfect attack formation. In 30 seconds, they would have clear shots at the shuttle from 3 different angles. Their small patrol craft wouldn't survive that kind of concentrated fire. He made a decision that he knew Zara would hate. His hands moved quickly over the auxiliary controls, overriding her navigation settings. What are you doing? Zara demanded as the shuttle suddenly turned toward the asteroid field. Saving our lives, Danny replied, dodging her attempt to regain control of the ship. You're disobeying a direct order. I'm keeping us alive long enough for help to arrive. The asteroid field loomed ahead of them. Thousands of spinning rocks ranging from small boulders to objects the size of buildings. It was exactly the kind of dangerous maze that patrol shuttle pilots were trained to avoid. Danny dove into the field just as the pirates fired their coordinated attack. Energy blasts meant for their shuttle struck large asteroids instead, sending chunks of rock spinning in all directions. You're going to get us all killed, Zara said, but she had stopped trying to take back control. Even she could see that the asteroids were providing cover from the pirates' weapons. Danny threaded the shuttle between the spinning rocks with quick, sharp turns that made the civilians sick to their stomachs. Behind them, the pirate ships were having trouble following. Their larger vessels couldn't maneuver as quickly in the tight spaces. How do you know how to fly like this? Zara asked, gripping her seat as Danny rolled the shuttle under a massive asteroid. Earth Defense Force trained me in asteroid belt operations, Danny replied, not taking his eyes off the navigation display. Pirates love to hide in rock fields like this. One of the pirate ships tried to follow them deeper into the field and scraped its hull against a spinning asteroid. The impact sent the ship tumbling away, its pilot fighting to regain control. 2. Ship still following, Zara reported, monitoring their sensors. Danny spotted what he was looking for, a cluster of particularly large asteroids with narrow gaps between them. Hold on, he warned, then dove the shuttle into the maze of rocks. The pirates tried to follow, but their ships were too big. One got stuck between two asteroids and had to back out carefully. The other gave up and waited at the edge of the field. Stellar Dawn to Shuttle 7, came Captain Voss's voice. We have you on sensors. Are you injured? Negative injuries, but we have engine damage, Zara replied. 3 pirate vessels in the area. Understood. Stay in the asteroid field until we arrive. Danny found a safe spot hidden behind a large rock and shut down their engines to avoid detection. The shuttle drifted silently in the shadow of the asteroid while they waited for rescue. The civilian crew members were shaken, but grateful to be alive. The cargo ship captain thanked Danny for his quick thinking, but Zara said nothing. She stared out the viewport at the spinning rocks with a dark expression. When Stellar Dawn arrived and drove off the pirates, Zara insisted on writing a detailed report about the incident. She criticized Danny's reckless disregard for proper procedures and his dangerous flight through the asteroid field, but she also had to admit that his actions had saved everyone's lives. Back aboard the main ship, Danny found himself called to Captain Voss's office. The Centaurian captain read through Zara's report with a thoughtful expression. She says you disobeyed direct orders, Captain Voss said. Yes, sir, I did. She also says your actions prevented the destruction of the shuttle and the death of 7 people. Danny said nothing. Captain Voss set down the report. Rodriguez, you've been aboard this ship for exactly 1 day, and you're already causing problems with your partner. I'm sorry, sir, I was trying to keep everyone alive. I know what you were trying to do. The question is whether you and Zara Keth can work together, or if I need to find you both new partners. Danny thought about that for a moment. Sir, I think she hates humans because of what happened to her previous partner. Maybe if she understood that not all humans are the same. That's her problem to work through, Captain Voss interrupted. Your job is to be a good partner and prove yourself worthy of her trust. Can you do that? I'll try, sir. But as Danny left the captain's office, he wondered if Zara would ever give him the chance to prove anything. The way she looked at him, like he was responsible for every bad thing that had ever happened to her, made him doubt that anything he did would make a difference. Still, he had to try. The alternative was spending his entire tour of duty working with someone who hated him for something he had never done. 2 weeks passed, and things between Zara and Danny only got worse. She requested solo patrol assignments whenever possible, and when they had to work together, she spoke to him only when absolutely necessary. Danny tried everything he could think of to break through her cold hostility. He brought her coffee in the morning, but she poured it out without tasting it. He studied Valkran language and tried to speak a few words to her, but she corrected his pronunciation in a tone that made it clear she didn't want to hear him try again. He even asked Commander Park about Valkran customs and holidays, thinking he might find some way to show respect for her culture. Nothing worked. If anything, Zara seemed to hate him more each day. Danny found himself spending time with Jake Sullivan, the ship's chief engineer. Jake was another human, a friendly guy from Texas who had been serving aboard Stellar Dawn for 3 years. Don't take it personally, Jake said as they sat in the ship's mess hall. Zara's been different since her partner died. Before that, she was tough but fair. She worked well with everyone. What exactly happened to Cale Moore? Danny asked. Jake's expression grew serious. Pirate attack on Kepler Station. A bunch of human families were trapped in a collapsed section. Coalition Marines went in to get them out. But they needed backup, Cale Moore volunteered. And he was killed in the rescue? The whole section came down while he was shielding some kids from falling debris. Saved their lives, but... Jake shrugged sadly. Zara blames the Marines for poor planning. Says if they'd been more careful, Kelmore would still be alive. Danny understood better now. In Zara's mind, humans were responsible for her partner's death. Every time she looked at Danny, she saw the species that had cost her everything. How do I prove to her that not all humans are the same? Danny asked. I don't know, brother. Maybe you can't. Some wounds are too deep to heal. 3 days later, their chance came in the worst possible way. All senior staff to the bridge, Captain Voss announced over the ship's communication system. The urgent tone in his voice made everyone move quickly. Danny and Zara arrived at the bridge to find chaos. The main display screen showed a distress transmission from the science vessel Deep Explorer, but the signal was weak and full of static. They were investigating an unknown object in the fringe territories, Commander Park explained. Some kind of ancient structure. Their last transmission said they were trapped by an energy field and losing life support. Captain Voss studied the star charts. The artifact is in unclaimed space about 6 hours from here. Rodriguez, Zaraketh, I want you to lead a rescue team. Captain, Zara said carefully, perhaps this mission would be better handled by... No, you two are my best. Security team, despite your personal issues. Take Dr. Foster and a technical specialist. Find out what happened to Deep Explorer and get them out. An hour later, their rescue shuttle Hunter was speeding through hyperspace toward the coordinates of the distress call. The team consisted of Zara, Danny, Dr. Nina Foster from the medical department, and Jake Sullivan, who had volunteered to come along as their technical expert. What do we know about this artifact? Danny asked as they dropped out of hyperspace. Nothing, Dr. Foster replied. The transmission said it was pre-galactic civilization, possibly millions of years old. Through the shuttle's forward viewport, they could see their destination. The artifact was enormous, a twisted structure of dark metal and crystal that stretched for kilometers in all directions. It looked like a city or a station, but the architecture was completely alien. Strange energy patterns flickered across its surface. Deep Explorer was visible nearby, trapped inside a shimmering energy field that surrounded the artifact like a bubble. The science vessel wasn't responding to their communication attempts. I'm reading massive energy signatures from that structure, Jake reported from his instruments. Whatever it is, it's still active after all this time. Life signs aboard Deep Explorer? Zara asked. Dr. Foster checked her medical sensors. Unclear. The energy field is interfering with our scans. Danny studied the tactical display. That energy field looks like some kind of defensive system. If we get too close, it might trap us too. We follow standard rescue protocols, Zara said firmly. Careful approach, detailed analysis, then action. What if the crew of Deep Explorer doesn't have time for detailed analysis? Danny asked. Zara gave him a cold look. Rushing in without proper preparation is what gets people killed. Danny wanted to argue, but he knew it would only make things worse between them. Instead, he focused on finding a way to reach the trapped science vessel. Their shuttle, Hunter, was equipped with special shielding for dangerous rescue operations. Jake worked with the ship's systems to modify their energy output, trying to find a frequency that might slip through the artifact's defenses. I think I can punch a hole in that energy field, Jake said after an hour of work. But it'll only last for a few minutes, and if something goes wrong, we'll be trapped in there with them. Acceptable risk, Zara decided. Prepare for entry. Jake activated his modifications, and their shuttle's energy weapons fired a concentrated beam at the barrier. The energy field flickered and opened just enough for them to slip through. Inside the field, the artifact loomed over them like a sleeping giant. Deep Explorer was docked against one section, looking tiny compared to the massive alien structure. Still no response from their communications, Dr. Foster reported. Then we board them and find out what happened, Zara said. They docked with Deep Explorer and found the airlock sealed but functional. Inside, emergency lighting cast eerie red shadows throughout the corridors. The ship seemed abandoned. Where is everyone? Jake whispered. They found the crew in the main laboratory section. Some were lying unconscious on the floor. Others sat, at their workstations, staring blankly at nothing. A few were missing entirely. Dr. Foster immediately began checking the unconscious crew members. They're alive, but barely. It's like they're in some kind of coma. What could cause this? Danny asked. I don't know. Some kind of neural disruption, maybe. Zara was examining the ship's computer logs. According to this, they were studying energy readings from the artifact when something happened. The last entry says the artifact was responding to their presence. A low humming sound began echoing through the ship. The walls started to vibrate, and the lights flickered. Guys," Jake called from his position near the airlock. "I'm reading. Massive energy spikes from the artifact. Something's waking up in there." Through the laboratory's viewports, they could see lights beginning to glow deep inside the alien structure. Patterns of energy moved through its twisted corridors like blood through veins. "We need to evacuate the crew and get out of here," Danny said. "Agreed," Zara replied. "Dr. Foster, how many can you revive?" "Maybe 3 or 4. The others will have to be carried." But as they began loading unconscious crew members onto stretchers, the humming sound grew louder. The energy patterns in the artifact were moving faster, pulsing with increasing urgency. "It knows we're here," Jake said nervously. "Whatever intelligence runs this thing, it's aware of us." That's when they heard the sound that made everyone freeze. Footsteps in the corridor outside the laboratory. Slow, measured, but definitely getting closer. "The missing crew members," Dr. Foster whispered. The laboratory door opened and 3 figures walked in. They had been human scientists once, but something was wrong with them now. Their eyes glowed with the same energy patterns they had seen in the artifact. When they spoke, their voices had an odd harmonic quality, like multiple people speaking at once. "You should not have come here," the possessed scientists said in unison. "The builders do not allow trespassers." Danny reached for his weapon, but Zara grabbed his arm. "Wait," she said quietly. "They're still human. We might be able to help them." "The human concept of individual existence is primitive," the possessed crew continued. "We offer unity. We offer purpose. Join us." The energy patterns on the walls began pulsing faster. More footsteps could be heard in the corridors outside. More of the missing crew, all under the artifact's control. "Zara," Danny said urgently. "We need to move. Now." But she was studying the possessed humans with professional interest. "This is some kind of mental domination. If we can understand how it works." One of the possessed crew members lunged at her with inhuman speed. Danny pushed Zara aside and fired his weapon, the energy blast sending the attacker stumbling backward. "So much for understanding," Danny said grimly. The other possessed crew members advanced, their glowing eyes fixed on the rescue team. Behind them, more figures appeared in the doorway. "Jake, get our shuttle ready for immediate departure," Zara ordered. "Dr. Foster, grab whoever you can carry, we're leaving." But as they tried to retreat toward the airlock, the lights throughout Deep Explorer began flashing in rhythm with the energy patterns from the artifact. The possessed crew members weren't just hunting them now. They were coordinating their movements like parts of a single mind. "They're hurting us," Danny realized, "cutting off our escape routes." Zara looked around the laboratory, her tactical mind working quickly. "There's another way out. The maintenance shafts lead directly to the docking bay." "That's a long crawl." "Through narrow spaces," Jake protested. "Better than fighting our way through a ship full of mind-controlled humans, Danny." The rescued crew members from Deep Explorer were recovering slowly in Stellar Dawn's medical bay. Dr. Foster worked around the clock to understand what the artifact had done to their minds, while Jake analyzed the technical data they had managed to retrieve. But for Danny and Zara, the real change was in how they looked at each other. The ice hadn't completely melted yet, but it was cracking. "Your tactical report was very thorough," Captain Voss told them as they stood in his office 3 days later. "But I need to understand what happened to Deep Explorer. That artifact represents a potential threat to every ship in this sector." "The structure appears to be some kind of ancient defense system," Zara explained. "It protects itself by taking control of intruders' minds, then uses guardian constructs to eliminate any remaining threats. And yet your team escaped, the captain observed. Danny shifted uncomfortably. We got lucky, sir. According to your report, Rodriguez was completely unaffected by the artifact's psychic attacks. That doesn't sound like luck. Captain Voss pulled up a display showing brain scan data from the rescued crew. Dr. Foster's analysis suggests that human neural patterns are naturally resistant to this type of mental intrusion. The artifact's designers never encountered a species like yours. What does that mean for future encounters? Zara asked. It means that if we run into more of these artifacts, we'll need human personnel on every response team. Captain Voss looked at Danny. Your people's unpredictability isn't a weakness, Rodriguez. It's a tactical advantage. After they left the captain's office, Zara walked with Danny toward the mess hall instead of heading straight back to their security station. It was the first time she had voluntarily spent extra time with him. I owe you an apology, she said as they sat down with their food. Danny looked surprised. For what? For treating you like you were responsible for Kael'mor's death. That wasn't fair. I understand why you felt that way, Danny replied carefully. Losing a partner is hard. Zara stared at her food for a moment before speaking again. Tell me about your home world. The question caught Danny off guard. It was the first personal thing she had asked him since he arrived on the ship. Kepler Colony, Danny said. My parents were terraforming engineers. Small world, mostly farming communities. Was it peaceful? Mostly. But when I was 12, we had a pirate attack. A whole fleet of them, hitting the outer settlements. Danny's voice grew quiet. My family was trapped in our farm when they came for us. Zara listened without interrupting. A coalition response team arrived just in time, Danny continued. Mixed species crew, humans, Centaurians, and 2 Valkran warriors. They saved our whole settlement. Is that why you joined the coalition? Partly, but mostly because I saw how well different species could work together. The humans were good at quick decisions, the Centaurians provided steady leadership, and the Valkrans. Danny looked at Zara. The Valkrans fought with such honor and courage. They put themselves between the pirates and the civilians without hesitation. Zara's scales shifted to a lighter blue, a sign of thoughtfulness in her species. Kael'mor would have liked you, she said finally. I wish I could have met him. He believed in the coalition's ideals, unity through diversity, strength through cooperation. Zara paused. I forgot that after he died. I let my grief turn into anger. Over the following weeks, their partnership began to change. Zara started asking for Danny's opinion during mission briefings instead of dismissing his suggestions. Danny made an effort to learn Valkran tactical methods instead of relying only on human instincts. Their first patrol together after the artifact incident went smoothly. They investigated a smuggling operation in the asteroid belt. Combining Zara's methodical approach with Danny's adaptability, the smugglers never had a chance. Good work today, Zara said as they returned to Stellar Dawn. You too, Danny replied. Your precision with that sniper rifle was incredible. Kael'mor taught me to shoot, she said, and for the first time, talking about her dead partner didn't seem to cause her pain. The real breakthrough came during their next major crisis. All security teams to stations, Captain Voss announced over the ship's communication system. Multiple distress signals from the Proxima shipping lane. In the briefing room, Commander Park explained the situation. 6 cargo vessels have reported attacks by unknown ships using unfamiliar technology. The attackers appear to be using some kind of energy weapon that drains power from their targets. Pirates with new equipment, Danny suggested. Possibly, Captain Voss replied, but the energy signature matches readings from that artifact you encountered. There may be more ancient technology out there. Zara and Danny exchanged glances. If more artifacts were becoming active, the coalition faced a threat they barely understood. Take the upgraded shuttle and investigate, Captain Voss ordered. If you encounter artifact technology, remember that human neural resistance may be our only advantage. Their new shuttle, Guardian, was equipped with improved shields and sensors based on data from their previous mission. As they approached the shipping lane, They found one of the attacked cargo vessels drifting powerless in space. Merchant Star, this is Coalition Patrol. Are you receiving? Zara transmitted. Thank the void you're here, came a weak reply. Our entire power grid is dead. We've got maybe an hour of emergency life support left. Danny studied the sensor readings. Their ship looks undamaged, but all the energy has been drained from their systems. Like the artifact could do, Zara observed. They docked with Merchant Star and found the crew huddled in their emergency shelter. The captain, a grizzled Centaurian trader, was deeply shaken. They came out of nowhere, he explained. 3 ships, design I've never seen before. They fired some kind of beam at us, and every system just died. What did the attackers look like? Danny asked. Human, the captain replied, and both Danny and Zara froze. But something was wrong with them. Their eyes glowed and they all spoke at the same time. Possessed crew, Zara said grimly, like on Deep Explorer. But how? That artifact was destroyed. Danny protested. Their answer came in the form of 3 ships dropping out of hyperspace nearby. The vessels had the sleek lines of Coalition patrol boats, but their hulls were covered in the same crystalline patterns they had seen on the ancient artifact. Guardian, surrender immediately, came a transmission from the lead ship. But the voice was wrong. Multiple people speaking in perfect unison. The builders require your vessel. I guess some people got away from other artifacts, Danny said, checking his weapons. Or the artifacts are spreading their influence, Zara replied. Either way, we're in trouble. The possessed ships opened fire with energy weapons that could drain power from their targets. Guardians' improved shields held for now, but they wouldn't last long against sustained attack. We can't run with the cargo ship attached, Danny observed. And we can't leave the civilians, Zara added. Then we fight. Danny started charging their weapons. But we do it smart this time. Zara looked at him with something that might have been pride. What do you have in mind? You provide precision fire support, I'll be unpredictable. That's a terrible plan. It worked last time. Last time we barely survived. Danny grinned. But we did survive. Together. For the first time since he had known her, Zara smiled back. Together, she agreed. They undocked from Merchant Star and engaged the possessed ships in a running battle through the shipping lane. Danny's unpredictable flight patterns confused the enemy's coordinated attacks, while Zara's precise weapon fire found weak points in their crystalline armor. But there were 3 enemy ships against their single patrol craft. And the possessed crews were learning to counter their tactics. We need backup, Zara said as their shields dropped to 40%. Stellar Dawn is 2 hours out, Danny replied, dodging another energy beam. We need to survive until then. That's when he noticed something on the sensors. More cargo ships in the area, hiding behind asteroids and debris. The crews were probably too scared to run, afraid of being targeted by the possessed vessels. Zara, can you establish communication with those other ships? Why? Because sometimes the best defense is a good offense. Within minutes, they had organized the hiding cargo ships into an impromptu fleet. The civilian vessels couldn't fight the possessed ships directly, but they could create distractions, block sensor readings, and provide cover for Guardians' attacks. It was pure chaos. Exactly the kind of unpredictable situation that confused the artifact technology. The possessed ships found themselves trying to track multiple targets that kept changing positions and tactics. Danny and Zara worked together like they had been partners for years. She would identify targets and coordinate with the civilian ships, while he kept the enemies confused with wild maneuvers and surprise attacks. When Stellar Dawn finally arrived with a full squadron of patrol ships, they found the possessed vessels already disabled and their crews unconscious. Outstanding work, Captain Voss told them later. Your innovative tactics saved not just the cargo ships but gave us intact specimens to study. As they walked back to their quarters after the debriefing, Zara stopped at the ship's memorial wall. Kyle Moore's name was inscribed there along with other Coalition heroes who had died in service. She placed her hand on his nameplate and spoke quietly in the Valkran.